Hey everybody, and welcome. And today we have a special guest, Mark Eccles, with us. Mark's been covering the NFL for over 30 years. And Mark, welcome. 24 hours from now, my friend, we'll be actually seeing who's going to be drafted and not guessing who's going to be drafted.
Yeah, that's right. It's all the guesswork's over now. Now we get down to what's actually going to happen.
You know, Mark, you and I've been around this game for a while. Did you ever think that the NFL draft would get so big that they literally would actually have cities lining up to actually host it?
No, never. I was just telling that to a friend of mine. We were talking about the draft, and I said, when I first started covering it in 1985,
Mhm.
it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday morning at like
Right.
8 o'clock. It started, and it was
Oh,
always
really?
it was always held in New York
Yeah.
at the Felt
Yeah.
Forum, Madison Square
Right.
Garden, and maybe you had maybe 100, 200 people tops that would show up.
If if that.
Right, and
If
mostly Giants and Jets fans,
yeah.
and they would boo. They would boo whatever player the Giants or Jets took.
Right. Didn't
You
matter
know?
who they got.
And
Um,
yeah, it just got. I don't know how it happened. I really don't. But year by
it
year, it got
blew up.
a little more popular. The Mel Kipers
Mhm.
of the world just got it going, and it just ESPN got involved, and then NFL Network. Where now, yeah, it's an event. And the ratings are like tomorrow night, Thursday night.
Yeah.
There's going to be NBA playoff games on. There's
Mhm.
going to be NHL playoff games on, a full
Mhm.
slate of Major League Baseball,
Right.
and the NFL draft will kill all of those in ratings. Kill it. You
You
want to
can
be wrong?
you can add them together,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they still won't
Yeah,
beat it. And it's become and just as you said, Kuiper started, with his little pads and stuff. I mean, Mel and I go back 40
so
plus
yeah,
years as well.
I like that.
And Kuiper started this thing. And the funny thing is, and people, real quick background, it was Chris Berman went in to Scotty Connell at ESPN and he said, nobody's covering the NFL draft. And Connell goes, of course, nobody cares. And he said, but it gives us a chance to get into the NFL. So he goes, if we can talk Roselle into letting us cover it. And at that point, you mentioned the Felt Forum, right?
Yeah.
It used to be at that point, it was still at the hotel,
Oh,
okay, over at the Waldorf Astoria in the
right.
ballroom.
Okay.
And so Berman gets Roselle to have a meeting with Scotty. Scotty says, well, look, can we come in and do that? And he goes, hell, he's like, it was a throwaway. He goes, Scotty said, I don't have any money to pay you. And he goes, don't worry about that. He goes, if you want to cover the draft, cover the draft. So literally it was Berman's idea. He talked Connell into it. Connell talked Roselle into it. And now it's Detroit and it's crazy time.
Yeah, it's a
So
different city every year now. Like you said, cities are in line bidding. They're dying.
yeah,
That next year's going to be in Green Bay.
yeah. I mean, what was it? Kansas City was the last year, or I think so.
I think so.
Maybe
Yeah.
not.
It was.
Kansas
It
City.
was one
Maybe
of
it
them.
was Vegas. It was Vegas or
Vegas was
Kansas City.
last year. Kansas City was the year before, I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, it was.
Philly had it 1 year. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's been everywhere. And like you said, and there's a whole line of people waiting to get.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that's become is they literally, starting in November, they start these mock drafts,
Oh, now see that bothers me.
and
That
you're
really,
like, how? You don't even know if they're starting the draft before you even know if the coach is going to be there
right.
for the team or what position they're going to be in, and you're like, this is nuts.
I don't like. I'm totally. I know I'm old school and I've been around long. And listen. I've adapted to a lot of the new wave
Yeah.
things. But no, I don't. I do one mock draft.
Hmm.
I do it today, and it goes up
There you
tomorrow.
go.
That's it. I wait till the very last minute so I can have all the information I could possibly get. Trying
Right.
to figure out who's lying and who's not, which is hard to do because they're all lying at one point or another.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes.
So, but again, one. I mean, like you said, they start them. Yeah, but there's 6 weeks left in the season or more, and they're telling me who's picking where. You don't even know who's picking where. Never mind who they're going to pick.
Nobody knows.
Right.
Even they don't know.
You know,
Um,
exactly. and you don't know who's
And
coming out yet. Some kid you assume somebody's coming out, and then they decide to go back. You
well,
know,
then there's now that now that the now that they have the combine and all that stuff, and you're like, and I, personally, I don't get the combine. I mean, it's great to watch. Fine, go ahead, do it. I'm thinking. I mean, I said to someone who was trying to say, "Are you going to the combine?" I said, if you see me at the combine, you have the permission to kill me, okay? Because I never in my life am I going to stand there, or sit there and watch guys run up and down the field, and somebody. And I grew up in Florida. I'm a big Gator fan, right? Last year, they're telling me, well, that Richardson's going to go early, and I'm thinking, I watched every game he played. Okay, you're telling me this guy, God love him if he gets it, but he didn't pass the watch test to me.
I'm with you on that too.
If you think this kid is the third best quarterback in the league, in the draft, either something I don't know, or I'm totally off base. So I'll give you back my NFL card. You can have, because I mean, college is, for the last 25 years, college has been my place, and I watch a lot of college people play football. He just didn't impress me. Now, again, maybe I missed something. I'm not a professional, scout by any means, but there was stuff there, and it's every draft, though, right, Mark? I mean, you look at guys and you say, "What are you going to do?" I mean, I'm surprised, to be honest, that Caleb is the guy who the Bears want. He doesn't fit anything that they have.
No, he doesn't. And I don't. Like we talked earlier today about the Bears and how they haven't gotten quarterback right in a long time. I mean, they've tried. Justin Fields, Mitch Trubisky, and they traded up for both of those guys, and now they're both somewhere else, and they didn't get much in return for either one of them. And Caleb's he's coming out of a college that has had their share of high draft pick quarterbacks that haven't panned out. Matt Leinart, Sam Darnold. Just to mention last two, Sanchez. I mean, they were all high picks, and none of them turned out to be what the team that took them hoped they would be. So that could be a bad marriage right there. I'll be honest. My favorite quarterback is Jaden Daniels from LSU.
Me too, 100%.
I think he's the best of the group. I really do. And I think a guy that I like not as much as Daniels, but I like him more than some of the guys being talked about is Penix from Washington.
100%. I mean, I like Penix too.
The worst thing that happened to Penix, in my opinion, the worst thing that happened to Penix was beating Texas, because he played so good that night. He was so good. If that was his last game, I think people would be talking more highly of him. But they beat Texas. Then they had to play Michigan, and he really did not play well. Michigan's defense, which was very, very good. Michigan's defense, but it really kind of exposed some of his flaws, and I think that soured some teams on him. But hey, listen, Michigan's defense was just.
It was a great.
That was an incredible defense. So
Harbaugh's team had it all. I'll tell you somebody, and he visited all the 32 teams, who I think is undervalued is Bo Nix, the kid from Oregon. I like Bo Nix.
The knock on him is that he's a little older, because I guess he played the COVID year and stuff like that. But
he had the COVID. He played 6 years.
Right. So that's the one little knock. But I think, he's going to – 6 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round. I think 6 are going to go. And it's going to work out the way it always does. 2 of them will be very good and probably take their teams. Right. 2 will be okay. They'll be good, solid Kirk Cousins-like quarterbacks that play a long time, make a lot of money, but never go to a Super Bowl. And then 2 will be, like Trey Lance and Justin Fields and guys that get traded for 6th-round picks and whatever.
Yeah, or end up with the Bears next year.
Next time around, right?
But if you should, we all speak to scouts and everybody, as we put this stuff together. And there's a lot of teams that need running backs, and every scout I've ever talked to, they said, unless you're looking at a a Bo Jackson kind of guy, right? Maybe Saquon Barkley. You can get them second, third, fourth round. Do not waste a draft choice taking a running back. And I'm like, okay. I don't see any, personally, I don't see any running back this year that I would waste the first round draft for.
Oh, I don't think I had a scout tell me this is the worst group of running back. He's been around
Really?
20 plus years, and he told me it's the worst overall group of running backs he's ever scouted. He said the only one that he really even likes a little bit is the kid from Texas, and he's hurt.
Yeah.
So
He's
yeah,
got the knee.
yeah, you might not see a running back till the third round this year.
Yeah. And really, if you think about it, I can't really name 3 or 4 running backs that I would even think about, that even pop the head, your mind. Because usually there's 1 or 2 guys, that
like last year. Last year there was Bijan Robinson and
Sure.
Jahmyr Gibbs and then a bunch of others. This, I guess, I mean, this guy probably better than I do. Trey Benson from Florida State. Some people like him a little bit.
He's if he puts on a little weight, he's not big enough for the NFL, in my personal opinion. He's not a between the tackles guy.
No, he's more
if you've got a guy like that and you need him to bounce outside, he better be able to catch passes.
Right.
And that's the way the NFL is these days. I mean, you got guys who may not be great runners, but if you can catch a pass, and at that point it's you and a safety or you and a linebacker, more often than not, if you've got some speed, you can get some yardage there. But no, he's not. I didn't think he's a tackles runner point in time who, in any way, shape, or form, makes me think that they're anything special.
No, this like I said, the one scout told me it's the worst group overall that he's ever scouted. So yeah, this is not. If you need a running back, you should have got one in free agency.
Yeah, look at Henry. I mean, boy, he just popped up in Baltimore.
That's why I think you saw the movement that you did with running backs. Barkley went to the Eagles, and Jacobs went to the Packers, and Henry went to Baltimore. Joe Mixon went from Cincinnati to I believe he went to Tennessee. So yeah, there was a lot of free agent movement, and I think because the general managers and stuff looked around and said, well, we're not getting anybody, and there's nobody that we can get in the draft that's going to come in and help us right away. Yeah. So if we want one, let's go pay for one.
Okay, so are you of the theory that defense wins championships? Because there's a lot of good defensive players in this draft.
But if they keep changing the rules every year,
that's a good point.
They're making it awfully tough on the defense.
Yeah, that's true. You can play. We're like one rule change away from flag football.
Yep.
Pretty much. Pretty good.
You can't hit them high. You can't hit them low. Now you can't do hip drop tackles. You can't. If you breathe too hard, it's a penalty.
When did you think that you would ever see that hockey's got more contact in it than the national football?
Yeah. Or I've been watching the Knicks Sixer basketball series.
Okay,
more contact than from NFL games.
Right. That's like going out to Brooklyn and watching the games out there and on the street. Man. Yeah. It's the old John Thompson's "No blood, no foul" in the in Big East. But yeah, I mean, there's some solid defense. There's good value at offensive and defensive line.
Yes,
as well.
This is a deep offensive line draft, very deep offensive line draft. Starting with a guy that's probably my second favorite player in the draft, and that's Joe Alt from Notre Dame. First of all, I like him because as a writer, his name's very easy to write. Joe Alt. I'm not going to have to look that up. You know what I'm saying? 6 letters, I can get. I like that. But he's also a very good player. I mean, I think he'll be a bookend left tackle for whoever gets him for a long, long time.
Well, and this is a guy who also was an academic All-American, and had a 4.1 or 4.2 grade average at Notre Dame, which is
a pretty good school too.
That ain't easy to do. So you got a smart guy who can also play, but he can also play a couple of different positions too. He's not just
left tackle, but he's good. I like him. I think he's Yeah. I mean, the quarterbacks are going to go early because they're quarterbacks.
Sure.
Like we said,
Right.
that teams get
They
desperate.
sell tickets. Right.
Right. But I think all it's going to. I think he's top 5 pick, depending on if there's trades made or not. But I think he's top 5 pick.
And the other thing, again, when we started, did 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", that was your offensive line. You're talking 6'4" is small, and 3 bills is small.
Right.
I mean, you look at that. The first 5 or 6 offensive linemen, all being one of them, 6'5", 6'6", 3, close to 3 or over 3. I mean, that's it's tough to move that.
And then you got the kid from Texas, Mims.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. I'm sorry, Georgia. Kid from Georgia, Amarius Mims. He's 6'8", 340. That's
good luck. Yeah, good luck with that. But it's the same thing on the defensive line as well. I mean, they're all big.
Yeah.
My concern would be in some of those guys. We're talking about Michael Penix, and I love Michael, but size-wise, he's going to have to roll out, or he's going to hit his lineman in the back of the head.
Yeah, he's not the biggest, right?
Because those are, there aren't a lot of 6'4", 6'5" quarterbacks coming up. I mean, all these guys are all, like you said, they're going to go early, but they're not overly big. They're just, they've been good and accurate in their passing, but I don't know.
And we saw that last year with Bryce Young.
Yeah,
he was the first pick, and he's not a big guy. He's just not, and he struggled a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not listening. The Panthers didn't help him a lot. They didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
Sure. But still, I think his size was also a factor in him struggling as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a theory on when you start your I'm not going to get into your mock draft because that's coming out tomorrow, and I want people to see it and read it and enjoy it. But when you do your analysis, does the coach they play for factor into your analysis?
Oh yeah, because you have to fit. You mean the coach that they're going to go to in the NFL, or the coach they play
I
for?
was thinking. You just mentioned Georgia, right?
Right.
If Georgia, if you're talking to me about defense, and the kid's from Georgia or Alabama, and he was a Saban defensive guy, or he was a Kirby Smart defensive guy, I don't even think that's the guy. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because those guys, they fundamentally played in the SEC, and 2, they played for guys who know defense, not just defense in college. They know how to coach you so that you're at the next level almost the moment you leave that school.
Oh, absolutely. And there are certain schools that the guys are more ready to play. They're not projects. They could help you as rookies. And you mentioned Alabama, Georgia for sure. That's why they're always 2 of the top 5 teams in the country. But Iowa's another school.
Oh, 100%.
Kirk Ferentz does a great job there in getting kids right. If you see his offensive linemen or his tight ends, they come in and they're ready. They put up they're starters. And then there are certain teams that like certain schools, it seems. Like the Eagles, for instance, they've fallen in love with Georgia. They've taken a Georgia guy early every year. Green Bay likes Iowa. Like I mentioned Iowa. It seems like Jacksonville likes Clemson. There's just there's a connection. I'm sure
a relationship. Relationship.
Right. So you trust those coaches more to tell you the truth about players.
Yeah. Utah is another one.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an outlier, but a lot of linemen and especially tight ends come out of Utah and Iowa. You're right. And when I used to do Big Ten Game of the Week, you knew there were going to be, linemen were pretty much everybody in that league who had a decent lineman. That kid was going to be a number 1 or number 2 draft choice. If the team needed a lineman, they'd go to the Big Ten because those guys were, beef-eating big boys, and they could play. And so, you went there and you got your guys. But skilled positions, that's where I'm concerned, and we talked a little bit about Caleb. I'm concerned about SC because, Caleb had a good last year, but he had 2 All-American wide receivers and an All-American offensive line. And then the past season, not so much.
Right.
And, his struggles this past season to me showed that is he not a good quarterback? Of course. No, he's a fine athlete. He's a good quarterback. But they turned in, that was a 7-5 SC team.
Yes, it was.
And look, he knows all the throws. He's got it all. We saw it all. But you brought Jaden Daniels up. And he did everything you could have wanted, with a team that was tough in the SEC. They didn't win the East. They didn't get a chance to get to the championship game. But that didn't take away from the fact that Jaden Daniels performed week in and week out like a total star.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I really do. And he won the Heisman for a reason, right?
Sure.
I mean, he was the best player in college football last year.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and you mentioned Williams and his struggles.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that I really wanted to like, and I
Mm-hmm.
watched him a lot down here, especially I'm in South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
but is Drake May from North Carolina, who's going to be a hot pick. North Carolina was supposed to be really good last year. They were top season, top 10 because they had Drake May and they were going to be good.
Right.
They lost to Virginia. Virginia might have been the worst Power 5 school in the country.
Not far from it.
Somebody worse. I can't think of it. Maybe West Virginia. But West Virginia actually had a pretty good year.
I was going to say West Virginia got good toward the end.
I'm thinking basketball now. But no, I mean they lost to Virginia. I mean, if Drake May is that good, if he's a top 5 pick and the number 2 or 3 quarterback, I know it's a team game and quarterback can't win a game by himself, but he's got to find a way to beat Virginia. That's all I'm saying. You can't lose. Somehow, some way, he's got to will that team to a win over a team as bad as Virginia was.
My problem with Drake May is I don't think he moves enough. He doesn't feel. Some really good quarterbacks they have feel. They can feel what's happened, right? They know. You don't have to see it. You don't have to. They can just kind of okay. I feel somebody's going to come tackle me. I'll move to the left or I'll move to the right or I'll run up the middle. He's not that escapability guy. He's the old pro offense pocket passer. That's not so sure in this league anymore that's going to help you.
No, it's a different. Well, you better have a real good offensive line if that's your game. Because
that's true.
And and these defensive linemen just keep getting bigger and faster and stronger. So, you got to be able to get away a little bit. At least you don't have to. You don't have to be Mike Vick. You don't have to be Lamar Jackson, but you got to be like you said. You got to be able to avoid some trouble sometimes.
Right. I mean, look at how Brady and I'm not talking to him about. I'm not comparing him to Brady, but Brady was a guy that just had enough understanding. Okay, I'm not going to run for a first down, but I can move out of the way from getting killed. Okay.
Exactly.
And also the other thing to me last year, maybe it was just last year, Drake May holds on to the ball a hell of a long time, considering waiting for people to come open. And he got sacked. And some of the reason he lost to Virginia was he took sacks he didn't have to. Throw the ball to the cheerleaders. I don't care. Just get it out of your damn hands.
Yeah, don't.
And that was a problem. And
that's going to get worse.
Yeah.
So again, we'll see. I don't wish. I mean, like I said, I wanted him to do
everybody to be successful if they can.
Yeah.
But you look at it and go, I'm not so sure. That's another spot this year. Is there's a lot of corners that are good.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of receivers good though.
Well, I like 2 of them. I mean, I love Marvin Harrison Jr.
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah.
Good star. And I like Neighbors from LSU.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to give you a sleeper that I like more than most people. Is a kid from South Carolina. Now, again, I see South Carolina play a lot too. I like Xavier Legette. I'm not putting him in comparison, but I think he's a lot better than people. I think the teams know it. I think teams.
Mhm.
I've talked to a couple scouts that they're very high on him as well. But you don't see the media hasn't picked up on him, and he's not
Well,
being mentioned about other things.
he's a slot guy, right?
No, he can play. He can do both. He's big.
Yeah, he's
He's
tall.
fast. He's fast too.
Mhm.
I think he ran a sub 4.4
Right.
at the combine, so he can run. He's only
So
had 1 year. He's only had that's the knock is he a 1 year wonder?
Mhm.
But I don't. I mean, it was a pretty good year. Um,
So he can go outside the numbers and he can be a slot receiver.
Yeah, he could do either. He's big
Okay.
enough. He'll be a good red zone threat, I think, for you too. I mean, I just think he's a real good player. Um, we'll see. I mean, I could see Kansas City taking him with the last pick of the first round. He'd fit in that offense very well.
They could use him.
They right, they need wide receiver help.
That would be a good get for him.
And the other kid is the kid from Texas, another Xavier Worthy.
Right.
He's small, but he was he ran like what, a 4.1 some 4. I don't know.
No, he was
incredibly fast. So if you like that kind of guy, you know, he can run, and he's not just a run. I mean, he's not one of them guys. He's not just a track guy that runs fast but can't play football. He has good hands, and he can help a team.
Well, he's like Waddle in Miami.
Yeah, there you go.
Waddle's not a big guy, but you get him the ball, and you know, the next thing you know, you're chasing him down the field.
Exactly.
So that's not a bad one. And the Harrison thing, you know, I think most of the things I've seen that got him in the top 5, he's a fantastic kid. I'm not so sure I would do a top 5 because I mean, again, receivers, you know, do you make that move? I guess you do if that's your need.
Right. Oh yeah.
But,
I mean, it depends on your team and what you have, and
sure.
If you don't have a quarterback, don't waste your pick on him on a receiver because you're who's getting the ball to him, right? So
yeah, I talking to Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. I laughingly, you know, joke that he's got a quarterback room he didn't have to pay for. You know, $1 million is the money that they paid out. This could turn out to be a very interesting thing for Pittsburgh, given what they've got. And we'll see. But man, have you ever seen? I mean, Chicago did everything humanly possible to get rid of someone they invested time and effort in last year. I honestly, I was trying to think. I can't think of a year when somebody picked a kid in the first round and so desperately wanted to get rid of him.
No, I mean there's been some. Well, I mean, this year we've seen more of that than before. You got look at the quarterbacks who got moved for next to nothing. I mean, you start with Justin Fields, obviously,
right?
But then Mac Jones. New England invested a first round pick in Mac Jones and gave him away. Kenny Pickett, Steelers. And they gave him that they got a little bit more than the other teams, but not much.
Yeah.
Well, Trey Lance was last year.
Right.
He went to Dallas. Sam Darnold, he's bounced around 3-4 times now.
Right.
It's crazy, I mean, and they're getting nothing in return. That's the thing. It's not like you're trading and you're getting a bunch of stuff back. So all right, well, we recoup our loss. No, you're getting 6th and 7th round picks. That's
is Kenny Pickett a fit in Philly?
I don't know. I mean, they got Jalen Hurts. I don't think they're going to give up on Hurts.
No, I'm just saying.
I think Pickett's going to be a good backup, is what he's going to be. I mean, because Pickett's not. What I like about Pickett, he doesn't lose games. I mean, he seems that he doesn't make that big mistake that's going to cost you, and he has won some games. He's taking the team down. So I think I think if you play him if you have to play him every game over the course of 17 games, you're going to see his flaws are going to be exposed a little more. I don't know if he's a Super Bowl kind of quarterback. He'd probably get you to the playoffs. I don't know, but as a backup, I think he'll be very good. If he has to go in and play 2 or 3 games because the starting quarterback twisted his ankle, you'll be okay. He's not going to be a liability.
Okay. Well, Mark, I'll tell you what, we have gone on
Okay.
taking too much of your time, and I greatly appreciate it. It's been so much fun.
It was fun. Yeah, it was.
It's fun to chat with you. Okay, shameless plug time. Tell us where we can get this thing, because we want to find out who you think is going to go in, in your mock draft.
Well, my mock draft will be up on Packer Report, 24/7. The 24/7 Sports Network. And the teams. I'm on Packer Report. You can go on PackerReport.com, and it'll be up first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay. Well, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to go down there, and we're going to match it and see that you've got the first 10 choices all done. And real quick before we go, any team you think is going to trade out of the first round?
Totally out of the first round. There will be one. There's always one.
Right.
Maybe Baltimore. I'm thinking
they don't need anybody.
Yes. I mean, they could use some offensive line help, but they could probably still get that in the second round and add a couple picks.
Right.
I would say the Rams, but the Rams, this is the Rams, the first pick they've had in the first round since 2016.
Yes, they're not going to trade it.
So I think they'll hang on to theirs.
Harbaugh is one of those guys who likes to trade. So you might be right in Los Angeles, but it's just the wrong team.
Yeah, maybe. Well, he's at 5, so he's not going to go all the way out of the first round.
No, he's not going to go out of the first round. Yeah. He could go back.
He could go back and pick up some extra picks. Absolutely. Yeah. I think there'll be a lot of that going on. I think Denver is a team that will move down. They're at 12, and I think a lot of teams might want to come up to 12 to get, one of the top defense. If the quarterbacks go early and some offensive linemen go, there's going to be some good defensive players available. If you want a good defensive player, you might be able to come up with Denver. And keep in mind, Denver needs pick. I mean, they haven't had many picks because of the Russell Wilson trade. So they can use all the picks they can get their hands on.
Yeah, they got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh now.
Exactly.
I think perhaps keep an eye on Washington. They won't trade out of the first round, but they could go back. Not far, but they would go back far.
No, I think they might be a team that comes up. They're picking second in the second round. I can see them moving back into the bottom of the first round and getting somebody.
Yeah, that could be. It could very well be, because there's quarterbacks back there, and if that's what they want, if Jaden Daniels is who they want, then they're gonna have to stay at 2.
Right.
But if there's somebody else that they're willing to take a flyer on, and God knows they need offensive linemen. Yeah. Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure. I love people who, like yourself, knows what they're talking about, and you're nailing it. We can read your mock draft on PackerReport.com, which is part of the 24/7 series, and they're awesome people. 24/7 super stuff. And throughout the season, we can catch your stuff there as well.
Yeah, a couple times. I write like twice a week for them.
Okay, cool.
I do a game recap and then a story during the middle of the week. So.
All right. Well,
even during the off season, I'll come up with some different, some offbeat stuff. I have a whole draft. My whole draft series is up. If you want to go on it and archive, I do.
Then we definitely want to watch that too.
That's all up there.
Check it all out. All right, folks. Have a wonderful day. We will be back